So, because I'm such a smart man, um, I had COVID a few weeks ago, and I guess maybe I have the, quote unquote long COVID, simply because I can't shake the cough, and I'm not feeling spectacular, but I'm doing okay. But because here I am feeling under the weather, what do? I go to a casino for 2 nights, stay up, spending way too much money, but having a lot of fun. So here I am thinking, well, you're exhausted, you don't feel good, you keep coughing. Let's make a video, because I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy looking at your face when you're exhausted, not feeling well, and probably going to have a coughing fit. You with me so far? Okay, thank you. You're very kind. All right, so yes, I'm happy with it. I made a previous video about this, and I got the history completely wrong, but the difference is now I've done a little more research, and I've actually shot the thing. And there's a lot of it that isn't worth explaining, other than there seems to be a lot of variations internally that, other than the extractor here, you wouldn't notice any difference between one from the other. Okay, at least when it comes to the FI variation of this. Iver Johnson, who knows? I've seen that they are producing 3 different versions, possibly all at the same time. I really don't know what Iver Johnson was doing. So I just know that it went 1968 Gun Control Act, made it so Star no longer could import pistols, and of course Garcia can no longer be their importer for those type of pistols. Okay, so somehow Star, Garcia, FI, and Colt all got together and made a plan. They were going to sell this gun with the frame made by FI and parts made by Star, and they were going to sell as the Colt Pony. And Colt didn't really have a gun of this style, 380 caliber. In production, they didn't have anything like it, and they hadn't in a long time. And they had no problem selling a rebadged gun. They had done it before with I think an Astra, okay, as the Colt Cub, a little 25 pistol. So it's not like this was completely new territory to them. So yay, 1972 they put in their catalog. They're going to move forward with this. 47 examples of this gun are made. They're turned over to Colt. Colt keeps about half of them, sends the rest back, and backs out of the deal. Now, a lot of people said, oh, it must have been a quality control issue because, hey, Spanish pistols and suck, right? Well, now, though that doesn't mean there isn't some truth to that. I believe what happened instead, and other people do as well, that there was some legislation going on in Congress, and they were going to try to ban Saturday night special guns altogether, not just them being imported, but them being made altogether. Okay, so unfortunately, what if I had come up with would be in that category, and it's Colt didn't want anything to do with that, and so they backed out of the deal. Okay, that's speculation, but to me it makes sense, I guess. That also might explain the adjustable sight and the lanyard, because maybe FI was aware of Colt's concerns and the political roadmap in front of them was unclear, and so maybe they're trying to hedge their bet by making it just big enough to go under the radar, with enough features and everything like that. But again, that's pure speculation, and I'm probably wrong. All right, so as you know, Colt backed out, and I'm gonna disappoint some people here who seem to think they have a rare, valuable gun because their serial number starts with CPA. You don't. They all start with CPA. What CPA stood for was a Colt pattern automatic, Colt Pony automatic. Nobody really knows. I'm sure somebody actually knows, but I don't. But if you have a serial number that is, I believe, 1000 through 1047, you do have one of the rare pony guns, but anything else, it's not. Okay, and the only thing that makes it rare is the fact that it says Colt Pony on it. There's also some guns out there where the slides that were going to be for the Colt Ponies were actually just resurfaced and marked with simple FI Model D 380, or a variation of that. Okay, so those are interesting guns. I am not able to speak to their collectability, but what has happened, sadly, is some people who have tried to sell a gun as one of the 47 and got laughed at and butt hurt, or people have spent way too much money thinking they are getting one of the 47 because of that CPA, and when people tell them, no, you got a good quality, inexpensive gun and you way overpaid, they get butt hurt and they're like, you know what you're talking about. So anyways, don't fall into that trap one way or the other. Don't try to ask money for a gun thinking it's a prototype when it's not. All right. And if you want to yell at me in the comment section about what an idiot I am, you're probably not wrong. So feel free. Okay, so FI makes these. FI eventually gets bought out by Iver Johnson. Garcia gets bought out by Inner Arms. They go their separate ways. Iver Johnson makes their variation. At some point they changed the frame design, but as far as like barrels, slides, recoils, they're all over the place. They're using original parts that Star was using. They're using parts when Star redesigned the pistol, and then they were using their own parts, their own barrels, different extractors. Who knows? They're all over the place with them, and their quality control, it shows. Very few people have had positive things to say about the Iver Johnson ones, at least the later model ones. So, in a nutshell, that's the history of the Star Model, not Star Model D, the FI Model D. And what makes it interesting is not the gun itself, though it has some unique features and it's kind of neat. It's rather the history of it, meaning that it was a gun that was touched by 5 companies and hugely affected by politics. And if history had been a little kinder to it, we could have had a Colt Pony that would have been on the market for years and years and years, with features that were, in some ways, the features we demand nowadays. You know, like a barrel lug, a captive recoil spring, adjustable sights. It had all those. It had all those back in the '60s from the Star DK. Okay, it was definitely a cool little gun. So, range day for me, I go to this local range up in Kent, Washington called Range City. They're really nice people. It's not a fancy range. It's not an armpit of a range. It's just a basic gun range. And I meet a YouTuber up there who runs a pretty small but successful YouTube channel, Tinker Talks Guns. And I go up there to shoot some of his stuff, and he shoots my stuff, and we show each other our new toys. It's kind of fun. So I had him shoot this, get an empty chamber, and again, I'm sure I've demonstrated this little magazine feature. I'll do it one more time. Empty mag, right? Okay, boom. All right. So he shot it. He thought he was shooting a 32. When I told him it was a 380, he was shocked because this thing does not have the typical blowback 380 bite at all. Okay, that barrel lug, John Moses Browning design, fantastic. This thing literally is a 1911 design minus the grip safety. It's really the only difference. Okay, so I've spoken about the lanyard, speculating about its purpose. Well, I got to use it for something. So here's a Star Model S. I think actually it might be an SM, but an S would work fine too. But here's a Star Model SM magazine with a cheap Amazon pinky rest. And if you note there in the back, there's no, well, there's no back because, you know, you got to slide it on, right? Well, check that out. Check that out right there. Just fits in there. Nice. And then, just, how do we show that? Nice grip on there. Okay. So, did the gun work? Worked great, except for the slide stop. I've had nothing but issues with slide stops. I think I finally found one that's going to work, but they've either not fit right, or they've just fallen apart because they were so worn out. And so I ordered a couple of new ones. First, I ordered one that was supposedly new from Numrich. The picture on there obviously was one that was damaged, but I ordered it because it said new. I got the one that was in the picture. So I'm like, okay. So I took the parts off of it to use to fix another slide, and that's what was on it when I was up at the gun range, and it just didn't work out well. So I went and said, well, maybe they got their pictures mixed up, so I ordered 2 used ones from them, which were less priced than a new one. But they looked new to me, and sure enough they were. And so I tried one, and I was really disappointed because it wasn't fitting right. It was like, this sucks. And then I decided, well, I have 2 of them. Why don't I try the second one? And the second one worked flawlessly. So I'm like, well, why would that be? These are new parts. So I pull them out, and sure enough, they're cut different. There's differences. So I pull out all 5 that I now have from gathered all over the place. Each one is different. Oh, stars are a nightmare when it comes to parts interchangeability. If it's put together well, this is going to be one of the sweetest guns you own. But God forbid you ever need a part, especially a firing pin or a slide stop. And I've heard people say, hey, you know, I have like a Star, you know, a 9mm Largo, and I bought a slide for it, and it won't fit. Okay, even though they were made roughly around the same time period. Star, they're crazy. I don't know. But that's kind of the fun of collecting Spanish pistols. Is you really got to commit to it because it's kind of an adventure, and it's also a lot more fun than, let's say, you know, building a Glock, because a Glock is like just the most generic thing in the world, and you can find parts. How you can probably get them out of a vending machine at this point. Did I just stumble upon a unique idea of a vending machine for Glock parts? Feel free to steal that and make millions. All right. Okay. Anyways, that's pretty much the end of it. It seems to be working fine. Because there's some parts availability, and I have the old slide, I'm going to attempt to do some wacky shit with this thing. I'm going to attempt to put an optic on it, and I also might get a 32 barrel and rechamber 32 NA, because of that barrel lug and the recoil, it might be able to handle the 32 NA, unlike a straight blowback, which is just so unpleasant. It's not even funny. And I might also try to find a longer 380 barrel and thread it so I can stick muzzle brakes or cams on there just to be ridiculous and make it look cool. It's a fun project gun, and what's nice is I get to shop around for parts on eBay and Gun Broker and, you know, other places, and go to gun shows and see if I can find somebody selling some parts. So it's really, when it comes to a hobby kind of thing, it's perfect because you got to really work at it, and that makes it's fun. Okay, so anyways, that's the history. I'll try to link those things in the description, you know, the articles I found, and I really welcome your input. I'm gonna go to bed.